I was a shadow in the government's game, pawn as a child with no face and no name. They stole my past to leave me cold and alone, always searching for a place I could call home. I was lost in the dark, just a tool in the hand, till she pulled me close and helped me understand. Now the fire inside is starting to rise. I can see the truth through 1,000 lies. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hellhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. In the dead of the night, I can hear the call. All the ghosts of my past scratching through the wall. My eyes change colors, the power has grown. With Crowley the hound, I'm never alone. I used to be hollow, a man made of glass, but now I am reclaiming every year that has passed. Every memory is falling right back into place. I know every name and I remember every face. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in my sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hell on beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I ain't running no more, yeah, I'm ready to fight. Gonna settle that debt in the depth of the night. They tried to break me, they tried to erase, but they can't hide the blood from the scars on my face. The veil is thin and the engine is hot. I'm taking back everything that they thought I forgot. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a tailhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I remember it all now. Every single face, I'm calling for you in the dead of the night.
Hello, everybody. My name's Henry. For new people that's here, for the others that's been here and following, welcome back. Now, tonight I'm going to do something just a little bit different. I've been talking about the projects and cryptids and ghosts. Well, I'm going to let you have a little more insight as to who Henry is and was. Now, there was some times that was pretty crazy. Sometimes that was really, really crazy and strange. Then there was a few times that it was just craziness. Instigated by me. On myself. And this story tonight I'm going to tell, it's nothing to do with ghosts. Nothing to do with the projects. All this stuff had been accumulating in my head, and I started doing like most young kids at 17 years old. I was experimenting with alcohol. Now, I've experienced through that younger age, making moonshine with my grandpa. On this particular night, I was a young kid and just stupid as hell. All of us has done stuff when we was younger, and we look back on it when we get older and think, Jesus Christ, what was I thinking? It didn't get me killed. Now, this is a story that if this happened to most people, they wouldn't tell a soul. But hey, We've all done all kinds of crap and lived to tell the tale. Well, here's one here. It's pretty funny and pretty damn stupid. But it did happen. And, you know, if I'm going to be telling things, might as well tell the good, the bad, the ugly, and the crazy. Well, this fits all three. Well, one time my dad was down at New Orleans on the riverboat. They had it on the dry dock down there for the winter. Well, I had worked and saved money, and I had bought me a truck, big four-wheel drive truck, jacked up, had the big rims on it. It was a cool truck. I'd have a hell of a time trying to get up in that thing with my short legs. But I could manage to pull myself up in there, even though it was a chore. You just had to be careful getting back out because that's quite a drop. Well, they was down there, and on a Thursday night, I was home. Well, phone rang, and I answered the phone, and it was a girl that I liked, and she was telling me that she met this other guy, and it just burnt my ass, but that's what I get for not speaking up. You know, you don't seize on an opportunity, it's an opportunity lost. Which, it worked out good in the long run because I'm with Danica, married to her, my witch. Best woman a man could ever have. Just don't piss her off. But anyway, I answered, and after I got the phone, I was mad at myself, a little depressed, brokenhearted. So I did what most teens would do. I remembered my dad always kept beer in the refrigerator. So I started drinking beer. Well, you ever heard the term canned courage? There's also another one called canned stupidity. I started drinking. I drank a case of beer sitting there, and I looked around, there wasn't no more beer in the house, and I remembered that down at the clubhouse my dad had, there was always 10 or 15 cases of beer in the pantry. And he always kept 2 cases in the fridge. So I figured, okay, I'll take all these back roads. Back then, see, I could leave the house. I could take back roads all the way down and then just jump over the highway in 2 places. And I'd be at the clubhouse down on the river. I'd finish out getting shit-faced down there and just pass out in there and go to sleep. And then whatever time I woke up the next morning with a hangover, I'd be down there by myself. So I went out there and took my last can of beer, grabbed my carton of cigarettes, grabbed my keys, my jacket, headed out the door and jumped in that old GMC and fired the old girl up. Well, I backed out of the driveway real easy and everything was good for a go. I headed south on the old country roads. I knew all them country roads like back of my hand. Shit, I could go all over the place and only had to cross the highway maybe once or twice. Most times didn't even have to do that. So I'm bopping down the road in the old girl. I take and go down along Regis Ford and take that long way down there and cross Sugar Creek. Well, I got thinking, shit, if I keep going the route I'm going, I'm going to have to go at least a quarter mile on the highway. Damn cops catch me. First of all, it's going to draw attention is this truck that's all jacked up and these big ass wheels. I don't think it's shit. Well, just ahead of me there, I remembered there was an old county road that they turned back over to the farmers, and them farmers using it as a field road. Well, it was kind of a drizzling, misty rain. I was like, well, no problem. Worst come to worst, I put that thing in four-wheel drive, and no problem. Well, I come to that road and took the turn to the left. Now, this old dirt road run about 2 miles. And it had a few turns and a couple big chug holes. And it was mainly, because it was raining, a little bit of gravel, a whole bunch of mud, and a whole bunch of big mud holes. In a regular-sized truck, I'd have probably bottomed out. So I, going real slow, sipping on the beer, smoking my cigarette, watching this old road as I'm driving. Well, I guess a lot of teenagers have been using that road, and them farmers decided to dig trenches across that road. Well, I come to one of those dig outs. It was probably 2 pickup trucks long and the full width, and it looked like they dropped a bucket and dug it down there deep. So you went in, you'd bottom out, or come out, you'd bottom out. But because that truck sat so high, didn't affect me. But I stopped and bumped the truck into high lock, four-wheel drive. Now, this thing was geared low. I mean, some bitch was geared low. I wasn't in a big hurry anyway. So I go through each one of those dugouts, trying not to tear up the road any more than it was already tore up, but I made it to the end and hit gravel, and I thought, well, I better get her out four-wheel drive and put it back in two-wheel, and I'm just going to go slow because I'll be kicking them rooster tails out from that mud stuck in the grooves of them tires. I had them great big wide tires. I mean, some of them are huge. They were so big that I couldn't lift the spare tire that I kept in the back of the truck. That's how big they were. I always had to have somebody else help me. Lord forbid if I ever got a flat. I'd have managed somehow. But I kicked out four-wheel drive and put her back in gear and proceeded on. Well, about 2 miles up the road, there's a cornfield on each side, and then the highway in front of me, I had to go over it onto another gravel road which had 2 cornfields. So I sit up straight, eased up to the stop sign, made sure I didn't get on it because that son of a bitch was loud. I looked both ways, didn't see no cars, so I goosed her and across the highway I went. Well, I'm taking all these back roads, miss towns, miss highways. But I'm not one to hurt nobody, but there was beer down at that cabin, and I was going to get my fill because I just wasn't feeling the best in the world. So I'm winding down through all these roads. Don't meet a soul. Coast is clear, man. So I could hear the old windshields flapping back and forth as I'm driving along. Hell, I ain't running probably about 30, 35. Wasn't in no big hurry anyway. So get to a place where it starts dropping off, where you go down off into the, eventually off into the big river bottoms. Well, I forgot there was one little town, but luckily that late at night, most times there wasn't a cop there. The only thing this town had in it was an old school. They had a fruit stand, a gas station with a convenience store, like a mom and pop type gas station, and 2 bars. And I knew people that lived in that little tiny village. I knew about that village, and I knew lately not the cop wasn't going to be out there. So I still kept my foot out of the carburetor because she's pretty loud in them straight pipes. I creeped up there and wound around through the town and hit the next blacktop road to finish going off of that hill down into those river bottoms. Well, there was an old man that used to deliver feed out there for our cattle and horses and pigs. And since we moved out there in that second farm, every time he come out, he always had this great big huge box. And you remember the Wrigley, Spearmint, Juicy Fruit and all them had them long sticks of gum? And it had that red ribbon thing that you took off, and you peeled that top off, and then you could shove each one of them sticks out and get you some chewing gum. This guy carried this in this feed truck in a big box. And every kid, when they was home and he'd come by, he'd give each one of them things that had like 5 or 7 sticks of gum in it. He'd give each one of you one. And sometimes he had this one, it was called Tea Berry. And it was pink, light pink, and then a dark pink. The little thing it was in, the little package deal. It was sweet and a little hot. And they called it tea berry. Some of the people won't remember that, but it was a stick gum. Well, he was always giving me shit all the time, and I got to know him real well. Later years, his daughter went to our school and got to know her, and I didn't realize that was his daughter until one day we got talking in class, and she goes, well, if you guys have livestock, my dad probably delivered to you guys' farms, feed. He's always giving out chewing gum. I said, oh, hell yeah, I know him. I won't mention his name, but yeah. I also didn't know that they were rich. So I'm bopping down this road and it's starting to go downhill. Well, in my drunken stupor, I didn't realize I was coming up on his house. He had a great big huge, I mean frickin' huge, log cabin mansion. From the road, when you looked, there was like a little creek, and his house sat right there at the foot of this big hill. On the left side, there was another house, and then up on the hill behind it was another one. That was for guests. That's how rich they were. Well, I hadn't been down that road in a couple weeks. But tonight was a special occasion. I was going to drown my sorrows. So I'm bopping down through there, and if you know anything about drinking beer, and you smoke, it makes you smoke even more. It just goes hand to hand like a glove inside of a hand, or a hand inside of a glove, whatever you want to call it. So I'm bopping down through there, and all of a sudden, nature calls. So, in my drunken stupor, I'm driving, and all of a sudden, like, I gotta go, man. There ain't no waiting. So, I didn't see nobody coming, hadn't seen nobody on the road anyway. So I put the old brake on and put her in park, and I'm going to leave her idle because I know you're shutting her off. Well, you know, your brain and your body, if you've been drinking, they don't know each other. Your brain tell you one thing, and your body just sometimes don't want to follow. Well, I was trying to tell my legs to slide over and jump out of the truck. Well, my legs wasn't paying attention. They was like, fuck this, we ain't doing it. But needless to say, I slid out of the truck. Well, basically fell out of the truck. Well, when you're drinking like that, you don't feel nothing hardly. It's the next day when you pay for all the stupidity you did the night before. So I get out, fall out, pick myself up, pick a little bit of rock out of my hands, dust my knees off, and I look, I don't see nobody. So I'm standing there. Now, all of a sudden, it quits raining. The cloud part and the moon come out bright. It was a full moon that night. Now I'm sitting there between the door and the floorboard of the truck. In case a car come, hopefully he won't see nothing, or whoever did driving the vehicle won't see nothing. They just go on by, figure there's some idiot standing there taking a piss in the road. At least I'm hiding my private parts. Because even in the drunk stupor, I had some manners. I ain't one of those exhibitionists. So I'm standing there, peeing. And I happened to look up on this hillside there to the left of me. And the moon got just right and hit that hillside. Well, alcohol and thoughts, they can be good thoughts at the time, you think. But they turn out to really be stupid thoughts. But sometimes your body will say, hey, I'm in. Hold my beer, I'll be right back. That was one of those moments. It was a bad decision, and my body decided to join in on the fun. So I'm sitting there, I must have peed about 5 gallons. And I'm sitting there peeing, and I see those cows up there on the hill. Well, the first thing to come to mind is I'm going to watch them cows while I'm peeing, and if them cows don't move, that means they're asleep, standing up. Well, us country boys have an old game that we used to play when we was young and stupid, and drinking. There you go. That's a bad idea right there. That's one of them hold your beer moments. Called cow tipping. You catch them cows when you're out road tripping, and you've been drinking enough that you won't worry about that bull that might be in there that might just decide to kick the shit out of you or hit you in the ass with his head and drive you to a fence. Canned courage. So I'm standing there watching these cows on the hillside there, and the moon hitting them, and they're black and white. Okay, well, them probably just old milk cows. They usually ain't too mean until you try to milk them, and that's when they decide to step in the bucket, or they decide to hit you with their tail across the back of your head, and it feels like you got hit with a rope. Docile cows. Usually. So I'm sitting there watching, and they ain't moving. And I'm thinking, as soon as I get done peeing, I'm going to sneak through the grass, climb over the fence. I'm going to tip me one of those cows, just for shits and giggles. Then I'm going to run back before the bull takes in after me, come across the fence, get back in the truck, and get the hell out of there, and laugh all the rest of the way to the clubhouse. It's going to be a good time. Something to make me laugh. I need a good laugh. I'm still sitting there peeing. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't find the shut-off valve in this motherfucker. And I'm sitting there peeing. I'm like, God damn. Oh well, at least it's going downhill. Running down the blacktop there. Hell, it's probably already down to his mailbox. I'm standing there watching those cows and watching for cars. I finally get done. I'm like, phew, damn. I must not have paid the water bill. They shut it off. So I zip back up. I look around. There ain't nobody coming. There ain't no houses I can see close. So I did what come natural. I put my hands up, trying to see if one of them moved back. If one of them moved back, I sure the hell ain't going over there. That'd make for a bad night. Hit me and drive me through a fence. I've had that done several times. That don't feel too good. It'll ruin a day. Might even ruin a couple nights too. So I keep mooing at these cows and they ain't moving back. And I'm like, good deal. Old Henry's gonna have some fun. He's gonna go over there and knock one of them cows over and run back before he gets up and knock the shit out of him. So I decided to moo a couple more times. Now, have you ever heard of a come to Jesus meeting? I had one that night. Even though I didn't believe in him, I heard him. I heard this voice come out of the dark. Straight up, man. I'll tell you what, had I been sober and that happened, my ass would have probably been in church next day. But as it was, I was drinking, so I didn't give a shit. I hear this voice come out of the night. A disembodied voice. When you're drunk, you don't give a shit. Everything's a joke. What are you doing? I said, dude, I'm mooing at them cows up there. Wherever you are, I can't see you. But I'm mooing at those cows. And they ain't been moving back. And I'm going to try a couple more times to make sure they ain't playing possum up there. Then I'm going to sneak through the grass, go across that little spring, go up the hill, climb over the fence, and I'm going to sneak up there and tip one of them black and white bastards. And I'm going to laugh all the way back to the truck. You're going to do what? I said, I'm going to do some cow tipping. Just one cow's all I want to do. I won't tip all of them, just the one. The closest one I can find. I got short legs. I know if I go to the furthest cow, I might not make it back to the fence without getting hit, or trampled, or kicked. They don't bite. Well, then, I hear God again. Have you been drinking? I still got a can of beer in my hand. And I hold it up and I said, I don't know where you're at, but if you can see this, yeah, I got a can of beer. Pass Blue Ribbon. Why, you want one? I don't have another one. There ain't much left in this one, so I ain't sharing. He goes, I seen you fall out of the truck. And of course, I'm shit-faced. I'm thinking, man, I'm talking to God. Piss on him. Somebody's never talked to me before, so piss on him. I said, yeah, I fell out of the truck. Why, was it funny? I still can't see this person, this entity, whatever the hell it is. I can't see it. I said, keep your voice down, because I'm going to tip one of them cows. You can either come and help. You ain't never helped me before. Or you can do like you always do and just sit on your ass and not do a damn thing while I go up there and tip the cow. I've had a rough night. But it's only going to get better when I make it to my dad's clubhouse. Out of the night, again, I hear him. You silly little bastard. You don't know who it is, do you? I said, I don't know who the hell you are because I can't see you. I don't see nothing, just dark. So, if you are God, either come and help me, or set your ass here and I'll go tip the cow by myself. But I'm tipping me a cow. He goes, where do you see cows? I said, right up there on that hillside. See them? Look. See them black and white things up there? They got their head down. Either they asleep or they're grazing. But they ain't moved back. So more than likely, they would probably fell asleep eating. Make it easier to tip them. This guy said, how many cows do you see? I'm looking, trying to get my eyes to focus. You know, when you're drinking, your eyes are going crazy. And I'm trying to focus. I said, I see 5. He said, you see 5 cows? Yeah. I can't help because you're fucking blind. There's 5 of them right up there in the moonlight, man. He looked at me, steps up, scared the piss out of me. And he pulled his hat back a little bit. He goes, you see 5 cows? And I still didn't recognize him. I said, yeah, there's 5 fucking cows up there on that hill. See them? Black and white. Holsteins. Milk cows. You know? He goes, 10. I looked up there on that hillside. I covered one eye, and I looked, and I'm counting. I only see 5. So I covered the other eye, thinking maybe one eye is better than the other one. Maybe I miscounted. Maybe one eye decided to go cocky and only sees 5 when they're 10. So I covered the other eye, and I look up there. I still only count 5. That's with both eyes, one at a time. So then I look up there with both eyes, and I still only count 5. He leans forward and looks at me. He goes, 10 cows. I said, I only see 5. I don't know where in the fuck you see these other 5. I only see 5. I look with one eye, I look with both eyes, and I look with one eye. He tapped on my truck and he goes, 10 metal. I said, what? He goes, they're metal cutout cows. My wife wanted them for decoration. They're decoration. He said, you have a hell of a time trying to tip those. Because there's two steel posts holding those metal cows up to make it look like they're grazing. Well, you know, when you're drunk like that, your brain is in about 1st gear when it should be in 5th gear. And you're not using the clutch. So I'm still trying to figure out how he's getting 10 when I only see 5. It takes me a while to think about this because my brain's got to catch up. This is like a race. Him talking, which is sober, me drunk, and my brain is, well, it's just petrified. And I'm sitting there, 5, 10. And he said there are 10 cows. He's got steel posts holding them up. What the hell does that mean? And all of a sudden it dawns on me. He's talking about their metal decoration cows. And I'll think, well, shit, good thing I didn't go up there and try to tip one of them. I might have got cut. I'd have been up there for 2 or 3 hours trying to rustle one of them some bitches over, and it's got steel posts holding it up. Now, you talking about feeling like a fucking idiot. Of course, when you're drinking, you know, it's funny. So I'm sitting there laughing. He reaches in, shuts the truck off, pulls the keys. He goes, hey, Henry, I bring feed to you guys' house every couple of weeks. Look at me. Well, he stuck his face up there by the dome light, and I could see him real good. I thought, oh, hell. I know who you are, Mr. K. He goes, scoot over. I'll drive your truck right down to the bottom of the hill and park it up there in my driveway, and you just come in and spend the night at the house. Okay. I said, you got any beer? He goes, I think you've had enough. I've only had 1 case. He goes, yeah, and that's way past your bedtime. So he pulled the truck into his driveway. And I told him, I said, it's got a safety system on it. You have to flip these switches after you turn the key off, otherwise some bitch won't start tomorrow, it'll drain the battery. So he flipped the switches, and I watched the light go out, and I said, now turn the key off. He turned the key off, and I put my hand out, and he goes, no, I don't think so. He said, be my luck, you sneak back out and get in your truck and get killed. So I thought, well, he's a reasonable person. He said, you stay up in the guest bedroom. That's okay. So I put my arm around him, and he's walking me up to the porch. I'm admiring all the woodwork. It looked really nice. We go inside, and it looked even better on the inside. They had a big fancy staircase that went upstairs. Beautiful. Beautiful mansion. He takes me up there, and he walked me down the hallway, because when you come up the stairs, you're in the middle of the landing up there. You can go either way. He said, there's a nightlight down here. He said, where this nightlight is, that door there is the bathroom. Okay. He goes, just remember, you're at the other end of the landing. The last bedroom there. Okay. So, he goes, you need to wash your hands? I said, yeah, probably. So I looked, had some rocks got embedded in there and scratched, and me falling out of the truck. So I'm washing my hands, and he's looking at that, and he goes, need a Band-Aid? Sure. He gives me a Band-Aid, I put it on, and I turned the light off, and he held me down to the end of the hallway to the bedroom. He goes, just remember, the bathroom is on the far end, and you're on the far other end. Okay. So he opened the door, and he said, my wife changes these damn sheets all the time, even when nobody stays here. Cool. Well, I climbed in bed, pulled the covers up, and as he left, he flipped the light switch. I passed out. My head didn't hit that pedal very long, and I passed out. But sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up and had to go to the bathroom again. So I'm fumbling around the room, and I come to the door, and I feel to the left, and there's the light. So I kicked the light on, opened the door, and looked down the hallway, and it's dark, but I could see the night light down at the other end. I remembered he said there's a night light right there by that bathroom. So I turned the light back off, and when blinding somebody, it might be up. All I had to do was go pee. So I hang on to the handrail, and I'm walking down there. And it's like a big loft. You can look down into the main living room, and the dining room, and in the kitchen. I'm walking along, admiring all the big chandeliers and skylight and everything. I'm walking toward that little nightlight. Well, I make it down there, go in, feel around, find the light switch, turn it on, go in and shut the door. I go pee, I get done, I wash my hands, dried them, and I was so amazed with the beauty of this, inside this mansion, this log cabin mansion, that I forgot I was at the other end of the hallway. That was my room, that's where I was staying at. So, I come out of there and I'm looking at all the pretty stuff, you know. Well, I thought I made it to the end of the hallway, and I didn't look, because I was busy looking at all the pretty stuff, like the deer antler chandeliers, the crystal lighting. I opened the door up on my right, not looking to notice the other doors. Opened the door, and I thought, well, I don't turn the light on, so I'll just go climb back in bed. I was, the world was still spinning, so I'm trying to keep my balance and make it to the bed. When I get to the bed, I thought, man, I don't remember the bed being that low. But hell, who knows? I reached down, grabbed the cover, flipped it back. I finally got in bed. Well, I went to grab for the pillow, and the pillow didn't want to move, so I give it a hard pull. And I thought I heard something. I thought, maybe I'm just hearing things. So I laid my head on the pillow and went to sleep. Well, sometimes I decide to roll over, because sometimes I do. I roll over in bed, roll on one side and lay, then I roll on the other side. When I rolled over, I seen something, just a flash of something come like this. I went to jump back, I fell out of bed, and I heard what sounded like a panther scream. I'm running around this room like a madman trying to find a door to get the hell out of there, because there's a big cat in that goddamn room. I finally find a door handle. I roll out into the hallway, and it seemed like the alarm went off, and everybody in the damn house was flipping lights coming upstairs. Well, Mr. K, he's laughing. He said, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah. You didn't tell me you had a goddamn big panther in here, a cougar." He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "That scream I heard a while ago." He goes, "Which door did you come out of?" I said, "That one right there." He goes, "Oh my God." He said, "That's where my mom sleeps at." I said, "Well, son of a bitch." So he opened the door and, "Mom, you okay?" She goes, "There's some crazy motherfucker trying to get here in my bed." He goes, "That's Henry." He said, "I delivered feed to his dad and said he got drunk." And he said, "I found him, so I brought him home, and he's got the wrong door when he was going back to the bathroom." Well, she got up and come and looked at my ignorant ass there on the floor. And she was okay, so she went back to bed. Well, the next morning, there's nothing worse than when you're plastered, hungover, and you wake up to the smell of bacon and eggs. Makes you want to sell Buicks. I wake up to that smell and I'm thinking, oh, goddamn. I slept all night long with my leg hanging off the bed because the world was spinning and I couldn't get it to go the other way to catch up with it. And the smell of that bacon and eggs just, oh, dude, made me want to hurl. But I made it down to the kitchen table. Proceeded to drink me some orange juice before I had to choke down that bacon and eggs. I normally love bacon and eggs, but not that morning. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear bare feet coming, and I'm too tired to turn around and look. And this old lady come up behind me, grabbed my shoulders, kissed me on the cheek, and she goes, "Hey, next time you come to my bedroom, can you at least let me know ahead of time? You almost scared the shit out of me." I said, "I'm sorry, ma'am." What she do? She goes all the way around the table, sat across the table. Every time she'd look up and see me sitting there, she'd start laughing. Then everybody around the table started laughing. Talking about embarrassing. I was embarrassed shitless. Well, after a few hours, I got my bearings straight, and he gave me my keys back. He goes, "Don't go try tipping no more metal cows." I said, "I'm going to the clubhouse, and I'm going to sleep." But I said, I feel like I've been shot at, missed, shot at, and hit about 10, 15 times, and then run over by a car. He just laughed. Well, I made it onto the clubhouse. Several months went by since then. Well, I come home one day. There's Mr. K bringing the feed. There's my dad and mom standing out there talking to him. Well, when I pulled in with that big GMC, they all was looking and pointing at me and laughing. I was like, man, hasn't he ever heard what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? This ain't Vegas. He ain't supposed to tell all my stories on me. So I pulled the key out, looking like the cat that ate the canary, and three bulldogs over there waiting to eat my ass. I get out, so I'll make a break for the house. Hey, come here for a minute, Henry. Oh shit, here it comes. So I walk over there, and they started laughing. And I go and play stupid. Usually stupid once in a great while get you out of trouble. I said, I know, I shouldn't have been drinking and driving. They go, no. What you shouldn't have been doing was trying to climb in bed with some old woman. I said, it was an honest mistake. So was it a mistake too when you pulled over and was peeing in the middle of the blacktop and mooing at cows on top of a hill thinking you're talking to God? No, that was stupidity. But they all thought that was funny as hell. I felt about this tall. I said, well, I think I've embarrassed myself enough here, so I'm going to go on in the house and fix me something to eat. From the time I left all three of these, my mom and dad and Mr. K, out there laughing their ass at me, they laughed all the way till I got into the house and shut the door. And when I looked out the window, they were still laughing. I think all three of them told everybody within 5 counties, because every time I'd go to town, there was always some smartass, whether I parked at the gas station to get gas, or I went into the local feed supply place. Some motherfucker would always holler out, "Hey, Henry!" Brrr. I'd like to never live that down. So there's my one stupid trick that I did that's true. It really did happen. Dumbass me was mooing at 10 cows in the moonlight thinking I was talking to God. So there you go. I didn't drink much after that. And today, I don't drink none. Because it be my luck, a young fool could be an old fool, so I don't drink. Because I get drinking, I might moo at another damn 10 cow on top of a damn hill and my wife knock me in the fucking head. So there's your one to grow on. There's your one to laugh about. You've had a bad day? This'll pick you up. Just you ever come across me on the street? Just holler, "Hey, Henry." Moo. That's all you have to do. I know who it is. I'll know you know. So there's my one stupid hold my beer and watch this trick. I haven't done it since. I broke myself a moon of cows. Whether they be real ones or tin ones. Just say no. Stupidity comes in all different types of bottles and cans. Canned courage can also be canned stupidity. I'm living proof. There's my one funny story, embarrassing story, but it's a funny one. I could have been killed. I could have crossed that damn little branch, climbed that fence, got into a hot wire, only to try to tip metal cows. And to this day, I don't like seeing metal cows. Because it reminds me of that hold your beer trick. Well, I hope you had a good laugh with that one. If you thought it was funny, leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe. Hell, leave me a message. Maybe you got a stupid story. I shouldn't be the only one embarrassed here just because it's my channel. Feel free to leave a stupid story like that. One of them hold your beer moments? We've all had them. Don't y'all be sitting there thinking you didn't have one of those. Because I know everybody's had one of them stupid moments from the past. It don't make a difference how old you are. We've all done stupid shit. But I figured I'd at least throw mine out there. So feel free to throw one of yours out there. If you want me to tell it, you let me know and I'll tell it on here. Unless you're just one of them people that don't want other people to know. Well, see, I didn't want other people to know too. But I figured, I would give you one in case you need to laugh. Maybe you had a bad day. Maybe you closed your finger in the door. Maybe you poked yourself in the eye. Maybe that boss chewed your ass out, so I figured you need something to laugh about. So there you go. I've had my stupid antics, just like many of you. So, if you've had one of those stupid moments like that, welcome aboard. This is like an Al-Anon class. Hello, my name's Henry. I mooed at 10 cows. What's your story? Well, y'all take it easy. If you pissed yourself, hey, that's on you. If you get to waking up in the middle of the night snickering about this, hey, that's on you. But it did happen. Damnedest thing I ever heard of. Mooing at 10 cows. Thinking there was only 5 up there. So there you go. Leave me a message. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Hang around. There's more stories to come. This might be the only funny one, though. But you never know. This is Henry. Y'all have a good night. Don't be driving and drinking and mooing at those fucking 10 cows. And for damn sure, if you see those cows, them 10 cows, well, I only seen 5. If you see those 10 cows on the hill, don't try to tip them, because you know if you get cut. Or you get them stakes out of the ground and that cow falls over on you, you can't get it off of you, and they send the paramedic and the fire department, you're going to look mighty damn funny. Trying to explain why you're wrestling a 10 cow that's staked in the ground with steel post. But if you did, drop me a message, let me know. I don't want to be the only fool. Y'all take care and good night. You think about that. When he said 10, I thought he meant 10. 10 cows. No, they was metal. 10. Like sheet metal. But I give him benefit of the doubt. I closed one eye and looked, and I closed the other eye and looked. Then I looked with both eyes, and I still only seen 5. So if you want to help me out with that, feel free to leave me a message. Y'all have a good night. This is Henry saying good night.